And if you haven't liked the channel, I mean the live stream, please do click on thumbs up, and I'll go back to your question. David, thank you, says LDR means long distance relationship. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. There's my dictionary here. Wunderbar. See, that's a cooperative channel here. There we go. Now, so we go back to Fall and Coco says, I was in a long distance relationship. See how smart I am, LDR. I figured that just like that. And nothing to do with David. Says, I was in a LDR, long distance relationship with my ex for a year. Before we lived together for a year. So it's 2 years. We tried to make it work, but a lot of issues. Mistrust, jealousy, ignoring, arguments made us break up 2 weeks ago. All right. So you are 25 and you were 23 when you guys met. All right. That's a reasonable amount of relationship, but it's long distance. Long distance relationship. Come on, guys, stop this nonsense. How can you have a long distance? How can you have a relationship when it's long distance? Listen, it's mind and body. This is how our existence is. At least these two. Let's pay attention to these two. Forget the rest of the stuff that could be there. Our existence is in 2 parts, let's say, just 2 parts. Of course, this, I think 3, but we'll just say 2. Mind and body. They each have their own rules. They each have their own needs. You can't be sitting down and keep thinking, hamburger, 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 and then feel full. No, maybe it'll help a little bit, but you might actually get even more hungry. So, because you can't be just not adhering to the rule of body, which wants sustenance and food, physical things, and then expect it to be fulfilled because your mind conjured it up. And you can't be just eating 10 hamburgers and feel that I'm very strong in my mind. No, you'll just bloat and you maybe have to go to the bathroom. So it won't help your smartness, it won't help your brainwaves, it won't help your connection with the energy of the universe. It won't develop the strength of your mind. The power of your mind is not developed that way. So they each have their own needs. They each have their own rules. Now, when you come to relationship, you gotta observe both. If you're in a long distance relationship, okay, mentally you see each other all spiffied up in front of Skype, and then you talk nicely, I did this, and you all look good, and you just, long for each other because obviously there's a physical attraction as well. But you can't fulfill the physical part but you always linger. So you're primed for a physical interaction, but you can't because it's long distance. Even if you see each other once in a while, still not enough. So what's going to happen? You're primed to want that. You're poised that you want it, but you can't have it. So what are you going to do? You really want an apple, but you can't have an apple. You really want an apple, but you can't have an apple. So eventually you're going to go have a plum because you want to have that experience of eating and tasting all that thing that you think apple is. You're primed for it, like you're being teased in a way. So eventually you feel that need of wanting your partner close by. Things that you want to do physically, not just on Skype, and mentally being perhaps compromising or finding compatibility. But you also long for that physical presence, which is not available, even though you guys might like each other quite a bit. So eventually you settle for someone who's in town, that you can actually go for tea, go to a movie, because these are physical needs, which is important to your physical portion of your entity. You can't be denying it's a long distance relationship. What does that mean? So you're going to say, therefore, it's half of the relationship. So what's the other half going to do? Well, eventually, It's no different than if you guys are in the same town and you have found a girlfriend for yourselves, and then you guys are having it, physically you're compatible, you have intimacy, and you go here and there, but you're always finding things that are not common in your mind. You're always arguing. Argument is not coming because of the physical interaction necessarily. It's mostly coming because your mental incompatibility or, differences or challenges, right? So what's going to happen? Even if you're in the same town and you have all kinds of physical activities and time you spend with each other, you may break up. Why? Because you couldn't be compatible on the consciousness level, on your personality, on your persona, on your center, and you will separate. Same thing happens here. If you are in long distance relationship and mentally you're satisfactory to each other or support each other, whatever it is, but there's no physical connection, that's missing. So eventually, because part is missing, just like the part that you were in the same town, but the mental connection was missing, you got divorced, or you got separated, or you broke up. Same thing happens here. Mentally maybe you guys are communicating, but physically it's not there. Therefore, because of that lack of connection and activity, you guys end up breaking up. On top of that, you're telling me that you guys were mostly, and it would cause you all that jealousy and all that because you're not fulfilling the whole entirety of the expectations in a relationship, the physical and mental connections. So in my opinion, the long distance relationships most often, if not 99.99%, won't work. The fact that you're settling for a long distance relationship is because you haven't found anybody nearby. Others, who's crazy to say, okay, this lovely girl nearby I'm having compatibility with, and she looks the way I expect, and she likes me too, but I'm gonna let her go because I have a long distance relationship that I think is pretty good too. Would you do that? Never. But often you do let go the long distance relationship for the one that is available, right? This is the kind of an urgency that each person feels, and unless they have what they're looking for in the same town, they won't go for a long distance relationship. And when they are in a long distance relationship, they're going to miss certain things that is not included in that relationship, and they end up settling for something maybe even less interesting, but it is good enough because she's in town or he's in town, and they can have a kind of a overall complete interaction. Now, Fallen Coco says, I broke up with her many times, telling her I was fed up with her changes in behavior, not enough texting, hanging with other guys, etc. See, that's what happens, and it's normal. You can't blame her. She's a human being. What, did you make an angel out of her? Or you thought that she's going to turn into what? Something that is not reasonable to expect. She told me she loved me, but she can't do this anymore. Yeah, of course it's reasonable. You can't do it either. She's a world-class athlete, actually #1 in the world, so she can get any man she wants. It sucks because she really showed me she loved me very much, but my actions and her now friends have made her steer away from me. So if someone can be steered away from you by friends, that someone is no longer qualified to be with you. It's not a good catch. You want someone strong, someone that you can rely on. Regardless of what kind of waves around and what kind of mosquitoes around, she won't be affected. But if she is, that means that's not a quality you're looking. I don't care if she's world-class athlete or world-class asshole. Either way, it has to be a compatible thing. Not because, oh, she's a PhD in this, or he's a scientists, and therefore that means, well, that means nothing. I don't care what they have accomplished in their professional life. What are they doing with you? How are they affecting positively your life, the quality of your life? I'm not looking for a philosopher. I'm looking for a woman who I can connect with, treat each other well, and grow together and ponder together, experience life together, and see how unselfish and how caring we are toward each other. I don't care if she's a scientist or she's a gardener of some, I don't know, some Japanese artwork. I don't know what to say. Meaning, I don't know, I don't care what she is. All I care is that how we affect each other and what we mean to each other, right? So that's what should be the focus on for a relationship. So you are hung up on the fact that she's a world athlete and she's number one. Okay, so what? She can have any man she wants. Okay, big deal. So is that what you want her? Because she can have any man she wants? Why? Why? Who's died and left all the wisdom of the world to her? She's a world-class athlete. Okay, so what does that mean? She has a nice fit body. Is that what you're saying? So others would want her because of her body. And she is willing to simply use her body to whoever she wants, right? That's very shallow way of describing a woman, because women are far more than their bodies. What's in their head? That's what you're having a relationship with. Women today are far beyond just a catch for intimacy, a body. They're an entity of smartness, intelligence, capabilities, and bring so much to one's life if they're the right candidate and compatible with you. And you got to judge them based on their qualifications, not just based on their physical attributes. You got to judge them based on their capabilities. And their capability is far higher than what it was 50,000 years ago, that they were just looked upon as piece of meat, and how pretty they were. Huh? You can't live with pretty. You can't build a relationship with pretty. You got to have these criterias to choose a better consciousness. Who is that woman that you want to live with? What kind of consciousness does she have? And if she is of today's woman, then she got to be respected for who she is, not because how she looks like. Because how she looks like is not her responsibility. It's not because of what she has accomplished. It's not her accomplishment. She looks like because she looks like. She was born that way. But what has she made out of that physical entity through this journey of life? What has she turned herself into? Who has she become? That's the one that you're having a relationship. The who, the center, the consciousness. And then you have to have higher expectations from women today, because women today is highly qualified, pleasantly smart, highly efficient and capable, intelligent. So why would you demean women by thinking that you shouldn't expect all these higher expectations from them, standards from them? And you should only focus on the fact she's a number one athlete. So what? I can't live with her trophies. I gotta see what does she bring to life, down to earth. Okay, that body, okay. 100 times you experience sexual intercourse, but you still have arguments and dissatisfactions and disagreements because you're all pulled in different ways. And you both eventually learn to respect each other's wishes and differences and move on and find something compatible that can build a life on it, not just build pleasure on it. You can never build a life based on pleasure. While everything you go after in this life is because of pleasure, But you should not limit yourself that your life experience would be just because pleasure of one kind. All right. There's a lot more to this discussion about pleasure, and it is a very fascinating topic that maybe someday I'll make a video on it.